looking for a fun way to let your craft obsession show during the holidays, I've got a great project for you. I'm going to show you how you can create wire-edged ribbon using some of your favorite holiday fabrics, and then you can incorporate those ribbons into your holiday decor or even in your gift wrapping. So it all starts with strips of fabric, just as many as you need to create the length of ribbon that you want. I've cut mine to 2 inches wide, so I'll have about a 2-inch finished wire edge ribbon. And now I'm going to piece these strips together end to end. We can do this really easily with the overlock stitch. I'm just using a 3-thread narrow. It's a great piecing stitch for this technique, and we don't have to worry a whole lot about the raw edges of our seams there because we are going to be stitching back over that with a rolled hem when we insert the ribbon. So I've got one end down, and again, as many as you need end to end to create the length of ribbon that you would like for your project. So now that I have my ribbon strips sewn together, I've got 3 that are width of fabric. Now I'm going to adjust my machine to a rolled hem. That was a 3-thread overlock narrow, so I don't have to change much on the machine to go to a rolled hem. First, I'm going to move into the rolled hem section on my stitch length dial. There we go. We're going to take it to about a 1.5. Now I want to move my stitch selector lever, that of course is the tension, all the way down to D. That's where the lower looper pulls really hard on the upper looper, forcing it to roll the edge of the fabric. Next, I'm just going to drop my differential feed down. The instructions that come along with the elastic foot that you use for wire edge ribbon tell you to drop down that differential feed for this technique. Now again, this is the elastic foot. Its name job, if you will, is for sewing on elastic. It stretches elastic and attaches it to the edge of your fabric very nicely. But it also has a hole in the front of the foot and then down toward the needles, and that is what makes this the perfect tool for creating wire edge ribbon. You could even do fishing line edges if you don't have a wire. So any thin gauge wire is good. Here I have some floral wire. I'm just going to find the end. There we go. Give myself a nice long piece, and I like it on the card like this because it sits right in my lap as I'm working with it. And then we're going to take the wire itself and insert it into this first hole here. And you can see that it kind of comes through the foot, and then place it into the second hole. And that is what's going to keep the wire right next to the needle as we stitch with our rolled hem. And then you would just bring that wire toward the back of the foot. Now we'll attach it to the machine. I do think it's easiest to put the wire into the foot before you attach it, and then I just kind of hold it steady to keep it from flopping around or moving inside of the machine as I attach the foot. So I should still be able to feel that wire coming out the back. Perfect. There's a little channel on the right side of the foot toward the back that the wire actually rests in. It keeps it nice and straight and flat as it goes through the machine. And now I'm just going to turn the hand wheel toward me and take a couple of stitches to anchor the wire and the threads together. The wire is to the right of the needle, and that allows that looper thread just to stitch over it and catch it. And now we're ready to introduce fabric. So I'll take my strip, find the end of it here, and we're going to place it under the presser foot and bring it up to the blade. You can skim a little bit off as you stitch. You don't need to cut a lot off. Sergers are generally happy when they're cutting, especially with the rolled hem, because that makes sure there's the right amount of fabric on the edge to fill the rolled hem without leaving any loops or channels. And then I'm just going to kind of adjust the wire and the fabric so that they're ready to feed evenly through the machine. And we're ready to stitch. Now, after you've stitched a little bit, you may want to just take a peek at your sewing and make sure that you're happy with your stitch length. If you've got a really sparse look, if you're using a thinner serger thread like I am, you may find that you want to shorten your stitch length, and that way your threads will really fill the edge. The opposite is true. If you're working with a thicker thread, you may find that it's bunching up. You may need a little bit longer stitch length. But I think that this looks pretty good, so I'm just going to continue on stitching all the way down the length of my ribbon. Okay, so I've gotten to the end of one side. I'm just gonna kind of serge off until I can cut that floral wire. And here you can see that I've got a lot of body now on the edge of the piece of fabric. And now I need to stitch the other side. So I'll just flip my fabric right over, give myself some more slack in my wire, and insert the fabric. Okay, so I've gotten to the end of my ribbon. Again, I'll just cut through my wire there, and just like that, with some fabric scraps and a little bit of wire and just a couple of spools of thread, I have an absolutely beautiful and custom ribbon to add to my holiday decor.